and we're here with Stephen Ellis of CANrace. Hello, Stephen.
How are you doing?
We're just doing a good as much as we can do here. Obviously, we're doing good on our end, but how about you?
I'm enjoying kind of all this extra free time, just doing some work on the side, but otherwise keeping busy, doing a lot of iRacing,
Yeah,
and
me too. Yeah.
I can't complain. I'm doing on this weekend alone, I'm doing about 25,000 no 2,500 miles of
Okay.
racing.
Wow. That's a few hours. That's a few
Yeah, I got
hours. Yeah.
double Indy 500 on Saturday and Indy 500 Sunday and Indy 500 Monday, and tonight I've got what's it a race against a bunch of the pro guys at Talladega, so it's
Nice.
fun.
Did you apply for that E pre or whatever for this weekend at the for the Victoria Day stuff that
No,
CTMP's holding?
no, I've looked into it, but the problem is it's usually the schedule overlaps with the NASCAR iRacing series, and that's kind of my
Yeah.
priority. I haven't bothered with any of it, but I'll watch it on TSN
How
every
did
time.
you get into that the main series there on iRacing?
The NASCAR iRacing series.
Yeah.
Well, that's open to everyone that's up. That's I believe C class or above. It's the biggest participation series in the game,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's so you just literally sign up or you just do it like you would do any series, but it's like it's longer races. And I just did my I won last week. I won at Martinsville. It's hard to win those ones, but I'm actually in
Yeah.
champion contention this year. I've got 2 wins in the last four
Wow.
races, so it's pretty good.
That's
I
pretty
didn't
good.
realize I was a good short track driver, but that seems where I'm having all my success. I'm more of a
Is,
road course guy.
yeah. Is there anyone else in that series that we would know of?
Oh, I'm assuming like there's 2,000 people enter each week.
So
It
it's
is the
got to be
biggest.
somebody. Yeah.
It's it's the one that most people do if you do oval stuff. So
Right.
I say so.
I
Yeah.
got to buy more tracks that are like basically so I can become eligible for the C because I guess the ones right now that I have aren't like the series, I guess, right? So you got to get the cars for the series that are at, so you could get a C license. I got to buy those and I got to figure out what tracks to buy.
Yeah, the NIS series, it follows the full original Cup schedule before they started changing it. So I had a lot of these tracks over the years, and I've gotten a lot into dirt racing. Dirt like that was a thing where I love road course racing. That's where my own personal racing background comes from, and then
Yeah.
oval racing obviously because of NASCAR. But dirt racing was one where I've watched a bunch of dirt races, but I still wasn't really a huge fan. And I've gotten into the sprint car stuff, and I'm trying to get into the full amateur World of Outlaws series, which would be kind of fun. And man, sprint cars are hard to drive when you don't know what you're doing.
Right, yeah. Like those are fun lobbies though. Like I'm only in the rookie for the dirt, but it's different. Definitely different.
Yeah, do in the lower half dash series where I've done a bunch of the dirt races, doing the dirt street cars against or street stocks against. But yeah, the pro guys, that's been a lot of fun
Oh,
because
yeah.
I one of the races I was like the highest rated non pro guy in like running at the front, battling for the lead, and that was really cool until I flipped over. And dirt racing's fun, but it's a challenge. It hurts your
Yeah.
arms, and especially when you've got pretty much full force feedback settings, it hurts.
Yeah. Um I have mine on 50 for my I have a Logitech G29. It's not the 920.
Oh,
It's
don't I have the 29 too. It's much better than 920.
right. Even though the other one looks cooler, but like I have my force feedback at I think that's as high as I should go. So I don't know. Wait, what's
Yeah.
yours on?
I go about
Oh,
85%.
okay. Jeez,
I
my
I,
table would be moving all over the place.
I want to feel the car. I want to have full control over
Yeah.
it. So, except I've had to really dial it down for the 500, and for the 500, it's been fun because I believe we there's been about 1,000 qualifiers, and
Jesus.
I think I'm still 79th. So there'll be top three split for the 500s this weekend. It's one of the bigger race events of the year.
Nice.
Can't complain about it,
Right.
and
Because there
yeah,
that was
nice.
supposed to happen anyway, right? The qualifying this weekend.
Yes, but then this week for the iRacing Open Indy 500,
Right.
it's yeah 79 out of 1,195.
That's
So
pretty good.
fortunately, I won't be able to get any quicker than that. I don't think, but again, that's pretty good. There's actual IndyCar drivers that are lower than
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. that is pretty good. And with obviously with the last couple of months, iRacing has just gotten so much bigger.
Yeah, that's it's been nice to see this little boom. We saw a bit of a kind of a spike a couple years ago because I remember when a G27 cost nothing in Canada. Now
Right.
G29, you're like mortgaging your house almost, and then
Yeah.
don't want to get started about the good setups, the ones with Fanatec direct drive wheels or anything like that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's nice to see the boom. I've noticed a few of the races have become a bit more crash filled, but that's why you just got to get your I rating
Hmm.
up. My I rating has doubled in the last 2 weeks. It's just been a good little time of getting my I rating up because you avoid all the wrecks. But loving driving the ovals. Love doing the Cup schedule. I don't think I'll be interested in North Wilkesboro, but
It's
just
fun.
I'm excited for the six new pieces or six new cars we're expected to get in the next one. I'm hoping the rumors of the Aston Martin GTE
Oh,
come true
really?
because
Cool.
it's, I run a lot of the endurance stuff, and that might be my new go-to car. I got
Yeah.
prototypes after all these years.
I know of just the two throwback stock cars. I didn't know about any other ones. It's cool.
There's a few open wheel cars, and then I believe two cars that were still not confirmed, but I believe the GTE was supposed to be one of them, from what I've heard and seen. So that'd be cool because like it's the endurance stuff is my absolute favorite thing in sim racing. Like I practiced for the Daytona 24 hours for like 3 months. It's like that. It's like the only, I don't race any other things except for practice for that event, and that's how important these endurance stuff is for me. So it'd be nice to get a new car to challenge with, and playing a lot of R Factor too. A lot of the
I
endurance
got to
stuff.
get into that. Yeah.
Factor two is like if you like again, I'm a huge into endurance stuff. The whole IMSA field is in the race in the game, so
Right.
it's great. And they're adding the Ferrari 488 finally. It was the one car they were missing, so it's almost near perfect, minus the how hard it is to actually get drivers into the game. But it was
Yeah.
all that the World Endurance Championship was going to do a 24-hour Le Mans race with real drivers and real teams. So that's going to be really cool to see how that goes.
That will be. And another cool thing with this resurgence in iRacing last couple months is there's actually real drivers that you can end up running into in any almost any lobby. Like Chad Knaus was in he was in like a Legends rookie lobby. It's like what? Like it's pretty cool. Like who have you ran with like in the last little bit?
Well, see, yeah, that's the thing. It's like I've been lucky over the years. I've raced against in the past Shane Van Gisbergen, Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman,
Right.
Greg Biffle, a lot of sports car guys, a lot of IndyCar guys. But now it's like it's a lot easier to get into it, and as you're more in the rookies or D class, you'll see a lot of these guys starting out. But I've done like each week I race against who is it? Tommy Joe Martins, a lot of like the kind of the borderline Cup Xfinity guys. Tommy Joe Martins, Garrett Smithley, Joey Gase, JJ Yaley, Bobby Labonte, Kevin Harvick. I was in a couple of Dale Jr. sessions, and it's cool to get involved with those guys. But the one
Yeah.
thing I say is don't be one of those people who are freaking out, like, oh my gosh, look who I'm racing against. It's like these guys are here to have
I'm
fun.
guilty for that.
I've kind of just like, oh, I raced. That's cool. That's nice. And then I don't think about it again for the entire race. And it's been really fun. I've had
During the race, yeah. Yeah.
my favorite battle I think I've had in iRacing was the Pro Two trucks at Daytona Road Course last Saturday against Jeff Green. We ran
Nice.
like
Wow.
15, 20 laps. Eventually, I ended up winning the battle, but moving up to I think it was 10th out of 40 cars or whatever. But yeah, no, it's been fun of those guys because like we've always had those guys in racing, but now it's like we see them on a
Hmm.
much more often basis. But we're gonna see, I think, a dead crash in terms of those guys participating very shortly.
Right. What makes you think that?
The real racing is gonna take over.
Yeah. Even though obviously with some news today that came out sucks because I wanted to go see that race, the sports car race at Most Sport this year, but that was just announced like at the time of recording this. It was just announced within the last hour. I'm thinking, hour or so, that
Yeah,
they're not going to come to Canada this year, but they will obviously return in 2021.
yeah. So it stinks because like I love that event, and it's
Yeah,
probably the one race I'm most sort of look forward to the most each year because of how amazing
it's
IMSA
one of
is.
the
And
biggest races in Canada of the year.
yeah, and last year there, well, you for the longest time it was the highest attended race, and I believe the Truck Series event now takes over. But most
Yeah.
sport, we're talking like incredible numbers. It was, I believe, it's still if not the most, but outside of like the endurance races, I believe of the sprint races, it is like the most attended race. It's
Hmm.
always a fantastic event because of like it's the only one they do here. They don't go to Trois Rivières like they used to. They don't go to Montreal. They don't go to Mount Tremblant like Grand Am used to. So it's been always a great event, and I love that. I love sports cars, love doing all that. But the issue is, yeah, they it's easier for them to go to Daytona, and that's where a lot of the teams are
Right.
based. And that's the thing. I don't get to go to that race this year, but I will take the replacement being Daytona because they used to race there 2 3 times a year. So
Hmm.
in Grand Am, and it'll be nice to see them go back to the second time because I missed the Daytona 24 this year. It was the first time I missed the 24 in well over a decade. So
Wow.
uh, be nice to kind
You
of
went to the
see.
500 though.
I got to the 500. That was cool, but I can't complain. I missed the 24 to go to the NHL All Star game, and
Oh, you got to see Green Day. Yeah.
I met Green Day. I got to shake their hands and
Wow.
everything.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
they're my all-time favorite band, so
Oh yeah.
I can't complain about missing the
No.
20. But it's it's gonna be pretty cool to see Daytona again because the strategies are so different. If you watch the first 3 hours of the race every year, it's always so close. But now the race
Hmm.
is only 2 hours and 45 minutes, so I think we're going to see really close competition, and teams are going to be like they don't have a lot of data to go on of outside of that 24-hour race they ran at Daytona.
Right.
So going off that, and I think it'll be interesting. And uh, then they got to go back to Sebring, which I think is even. Oh man, I feel so bad for those guys. I think
With
the
the
one thing,
temperature too.
yeah, I think one of the things of Sebring going at the end of the year was that puts so much pressure on those cars. It's so much. It's one of the bumpiest tracks in the world. So when you finish that race, you feel accomplished.
Yeah.
Um, but again, you got to put a lot of wear and tear on the cars. I think having it this race, the second race, when they have one more race after that in 10 July, it's going to be putting a lot of pressure on the cars before their next race. And it's a bumpy track. I've done it in iRacing. I've won the 12 hours of Sebring. It's a tough track.
Nice.
It's really bumpy. It hurts. And to do it in real life, it hurts even more. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of tackle it all. But it's going to be I like the schedule as it is. We're going to end it off with, at least for the DPI class, it's going to be 3 endurance races in a row to end the year.
Hmm.
So I think that's awesome.
Wow.
The
And
more the better. And if I had my way, go to Daytona 3 times again each. But that's just I love the road course. That Roval is awesome. It's great. It's fun. I love racing it online, and
oh
uh,
yeah.
so I can't complain about that. Yeah, sure, we don't get to see the race in July, and it would have been really cool because that was supposed to be a huge weekend. It was going to be Sunset Speedway the night before for Pinty's, and I believe
Yeah.
Oshwegan or Friday with an
Yeah.
Oshwegan
Oh,
race.
that was gonna be such a cool week.
And so it sucks because that would have been a huge one for Canadian racing, and it's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah, and I didn't take too long looking at the revised schedule for the sports car stuff, but when is the dates for all that?
Those new ones are all going to be in July,
Right.
uh, so it's going to be still doing that, which is I guess it keeps it consistent. And that's the thing. They got rid of the CTMP day, but part of that was also so they could return to Daytona for that race. And
Hmm.
um, yeah, so it's Watkins Glen's been moved to October, I believe. That's gonna be a really
Yeah.
cool physical track. So yeah, it's Daytona and Sebring in July, and that Sebring I'm gonna like is the day before my birthday, and then Road America, VAIR, Laguna Seca, Mid Ohio, and then the Glen, Petit Le Mans, Lime Rock, which a lot of people like Lime Rock, not a huge fan. But then the Sebring on November 14th when they were supposed to do the GT3, GT4 LMP3 race and replacing with the 12 hours. What a way to end this season.
Oh yeah.
Daytona start, Sebring to end. That's going to be one hell of a way to end the season. It's going to be cold. It's going to be bumpy, and it's going to be way different than what we were used to for that race. But going to be fun.
We're seeing a lot of even within the Cup series in NASCAR. There's going to be a midweek race next week. We're seeing a lot of these racing series. They're kind of doing things that for years that they've been talking about possibly doing, or maybe some things that fans have always wanted. I'm not against seeing a lot of this racing within just a couple of months going. Obviously, between July and October or November, there's going to be tons of racing.
Yeah, and then I think that's kind of the nice thing. It's almost like kind of you go from not having anything to any live sports to watch on TV to all of a sudden you got all this in a row, and I think
Hmm.
it's take some time to get used to. But
Yeah.
NASCAR used to do this. They back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Part of the reason why Richard Petty had so many wins was because he was the only guy running 50 races a year, and would run 8 more races than anybody. So he'd win the championship by default just by doing them. But
Mm,
the way they did it was they would run 3 races in a week. And I got a documentary I've been working on, a mini one, but it's coming out next week. It's about the history of NASCAR's very
nice.
first and
Looking
only
forward to that.
race on the streets of Toronto when they raced there in 1958.
Oh, cool.
Also happens, for those who don't know, was that was Richard Petty's very first NASCAR Cup Series race.
Was that through where the old stadium, the old
Yes,
yeah.
they had an oval there,
Yeah.
and
That's
it ran
cool.
for a while, and they did a lot of racing there. Actually, it has a huge history. There's a whole book that
Oh
came out of.
yeah.
But it's kind of cool because like that back then though, it's like they'd race like July 12th, 15th, 18th, 20th, 22nd. And
Right.
you just kind of do a tour, almost like the way monster trucks do it, where they race so often, just all over the place. And
Mhm.
um, but it kind of, you would get so many fields where you get one race, you get 40 cars, the next race you get 12, and then like only three would be competitive. So that is something back in the day they used to do. But now NASCAR is a way more competitive sport than it's ever been. Uh, and I think we're going to see the best kind of rise to the occasion. And the one thing that I think will be worth mentioning is, will those guys that are used to running 3 races in a weekend or 2 races in a weekend, will they have an advantage?
Mhm.
Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, those guys do really well. I think Kyle Busch could end up becoming the champion this year because of just
Mhm.
how often he runs and how consistent he is in that. And it would have been a really good opportunity for a certain guy who used to race dirt tracks and now he's back to doing it. Would have been a really good opportunity for him. So
Yeah.
it's going to be
I know what you're talking about.
interesting to see how they kind of tackle the next few weeks. And obviously, we know the second phase of the schedule, and there'll be
Mhm.
Martinsville, Talladega. So it's nice because we're getting a lot of tracks that are really popular too.
Yeah.
You're not going out and like adding extra Kansas days or extra New Hampshire. It's nice
Thank
that it's
God.
we're getting Martinsville, we're getting Homestead, we're getting Charlotte, we're getting as boring as Charlotte can be at times.
Mhm.
We're getting all those events, and it's nice that it is something. And it is a shame though on the triple Memorial Day weekend Sunday, where the most boring of the 3 races is the one that's actually still happening. But
Right.
uh, I'm excited just to get back to watching racing, and it's gonna be really busy, but it's at the same time, what else are we doing? So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think we're gonna see less iRacing and more real racing. I don't think anyone's gonna complain about that.
Yeah, a lot of people will be happy to see, especially all the old school guys. But obviously, I've been saying for years, like all these guys should have been doing some sort of invitational series, anyways. But it's interesting you mentioned Kyle Busch because he took the iRacing thing very seriously, and not only that, he's going to be racing. I think it was yesterday or today they announced on Twitter he's going to be racing like I forget the number of races, but he's going to be racing I think all the races potentially in the 11 days.
Yeah, he's going to be doing a crazy schedule, and that's the thing. People don't like him racing those smaller level races, but then I think they also forget how common that was even 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch doing that, I think that's awesome. He's a guy who just purely loves to race,
Yeah.
and love him or hate him on track, that's something that you don't see out of a lot of stars. You're not seeing guys like William Byron. You're not seeing guys like
It's
Chase
true.
Elliott and Blaney running all these different things. But Kyle Busch will run anything he possibly can, and I think that's something that you got to respect. And part of the reason he's running the truck races is to make sure like he helps that team survive, because otherwise he's kind of fitting or funding a lot of that bill, and that doesn't really help anyone that team doesn't if that team dies. That's a problem for the
Hmm.
trucks. And having him being involved with that is great. And I also don't mind him getting all of his races out of his system early on in the year, so that we
Right.
could see more a summer of random or more of the smaller Xfinity teams having a chance. And
Right.
so I think it's good that he's doing it. It's going to be really busy for him, and we'll see how many of those he wins, because he's the Toyotas had some power early on, and
Hmm.
outside Martin Truex, they were a competitive group there. So I think it'll be interesting to see what he can do in the next few races. And again, like all this extra track time could be so beneficial when a guy like Matt Kenseth's coming in and doing
Yeah.
his first laps at Darlington. Well,
That's gonna be
that's
crazy.
wow, that's tough. But then
And
you
where
look
is he
at
starting again?
12th, I believe.
Right.
But then you look at Kyle Busch. It's like, well, by the time they get to the third Cup race, well, what did he have like 5 races on under his belt at that point?
Hmm.
6. So it's like that's huge. I think you'll have so much more experience than when everyone else has kind of been sitting at home. So it was good to see him taking the iRacing seriously. Like, he
Hmm.
had a really good driver in Malik Ray as his driver coach, and he races in the Pro
Oh,
Series.
cool.
So like a lot of those guys did have that extra help, and I believe like Denny Hamlin had a guy helping him, and Byron didn't, but he didn't need it. But like these top guys had someone helping him or helping them, and I think that was good to see them kind of take this seriously, because I think this would be huge for NASCAR if they did something like every other week or something.
Hmm.
They do a winter series, that'd be great. And the
Oh yeah, that
go
would be cool.
we're off on a little tangent. We're talking about just keeping the series relevant. Gotta say, IMSA did not do a good job at that.
Right. Yeah.
They have the they have the option where they could have done GT3 and GTE cars and run a schedule more consistent, but instead they raced every other week in a single car class where if you start 20th, you don't have a chance of winning. And
Hmm.
it's I think that kind of just killed that enjoyment. I love endurance racing. I love sports car racing. That just felt like a big bummer. But
Yeah.
NASCAR, IndyCar got it right. And IndyCar's coming back too next month. So it's
Yep.
really cool to see all this coming back. It's unfortunate we're not going to see any of this stuff in Canada, but because there's a very high chance. Like Montreal Grand Prix is not coming back this year, according
Right.
to reports, and Toronto Indy's not going to happen either. So we're going to get to the point where we're not going to see any major racing in Canada.
Yeah, and the way I think, obviously, there's a lot of listeners that might be from the States for my podcast, or even maybe for you as well. But um, for Canadians, though, we're taking things a little bit more slower than it seems to be for some of these states down in the United States that are obviously racing can come back really soon down there, but we're taking things a little slower, I think. And at this point, yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
That's the thing. I think when it hit in March, it became kind of clear. It's like, okay, we're gonna have a very strange racing series
Yeah.
schedule in Canada, and I kind of just early on just wrote it off. I've been saying since like beginning of March, like, we're not getting a Pinty season, and it sucks. But
Hmm.
during last year was just a rain fest everywhere all the time, and it kind of sucks that we're gonna be in a situation where, yeah, you know what, we might not get to race in Canada anything other than just like the short
The
track.
regional stuff, or yeah.
Like if there's still hope that the truck series on Motorsport will happen, but then there will also be the Jukasa race. Well, the question is, will Jukasa that same weekend when they do the late model race? That's such a great event,
Hmm.
awesome event last year, and
Huge
it's
purse.
huge. It's just getting bigger and
Yeah.
bigger. Could we get to the point where the truck series doesn't allow anybody at the race, but then the late model guys do, and then we're all going to late model race instead? So hopefully by the end of August, early September, we're going to be able to go to tracks. But at least all the major events, that kind of we see them in the first half of the year just due to how our weather system is, and it'll be a shame if we end up losing all of them. But I think that's just kind of the reality we got to work with, and I'm okay with losing a year if it means that we're going to get racing back again and everyone's okay, because there's been crew members throughout the top Canadian series that have been hit with coronavirus, but nothing that we know of drivers. And I
Hmm.
think it's important the drivers are taking it extra cautious because they want to go racing. And I know it'd be nice to go to a track, and a lot of places in the States are opening up and you can go watch racing already, but it's like, let's just do it right, because
Right.
there's a very good chance that we're going to see an extra wave come, and it could be even worse if we start opening things up. So, yeah, I just, as long as it seems like NASCAR is taking this seriously, and that's extremely important for the Pinty series. It's a shame we're not going to go to Trois Rivières this year. That was my favorite of like part of the blast of that was just the 10-hour drive up there.
Hmm. Yeah.
The
It's a road
drive back.
trip.
It's like I love that. It was one of my
Hmm.
favorite parts of it, and the nightlife there is great. The people are great. Like everything about Trois Rivières is a must do for any race fan, and it's a shame we can't do it this year because of all this. But
Quebec got hit hard too.
that's the thing. It's like we're not going to go to Quebec for any of the races, and iCar was supposed to open back up, and we're going to see iCar on the road course, and they try to get the oval ready in time, but from everything I've seen, the track's completely flat and would just be so boring. So I'm glad they're working on it some more. But um, there's a lot kind of just we're going to lose out on, but if it means coming back strong for 2021, I think everyone's going to appreciate it more, and we might
Yeah.
see a huge bump in attendance. So it's like we did a hard reset. We're giving everybody the opportunity. It's like, okay, we've been through this, come back. and we'll see how it goes. I don't think people are going to be eager to go back. I don't think it's going to be a thing where people lost interest. I think people are going to come back
Hmm.
and strong. So as long as that happens, I think we're in a good spot. We just got to wait it out till it's right.
Do you think that iRacing in the last couple of months have kind of saved racing in a sense where it did keep people interested and whatnot?
I think to a point, like the numbers didn't lie for um,
No.
like the numbers we saw for the series were pretty solid on the
Yeah.
NASCAR Invitational, and not as well for the IndyCar. But it was good to see that because like people cared, people showed interest, and I think that we got to see sim racing go to a whole new level, and um, that's very important. And to see just how quickly they were also able to transition. I think it was like the next week after the Cup Series, they went straight to iRacing,
Right.
and
Oh, yeah.
that's again, that's fantastic for it to
Adapted
get,
pretty quick.
yeah, for it to get on national TV in many countries is huge. And so I think that was successful. That was everything they could have asked for it, and it kept people just engaged with the drivers. That's the thing. It's like you look at a lot of the drivers on their Twitch streams, and they're talking to the fans. Well, like they can't
Right.
do that during a race. That's cool. Like Timmy Hill. I'm watching him at Bristol. He got spun out, and after he gets spun out, he's waiting for green. He's answering questions
Hmm.
from the fans and saying like what he plans to do, type thing. It's like that's that's good.
You're able to see their facial expressions too while they're driving. Like someone might be sticking their tongue out or something like that, or maybe they're leaning into the turns virtually.
Yeah, it's like they could do a lot of cool things with that, and I think
It's cool to
that
see
was
that.
really cool to see how they took it seriously and well, as many drivers as you can. That's the thing. It's like the series did have its faults, and uh, I think it also was starting to lose its luster by the time they went to North Wilkesboro. I know that was a track people were asking for, but man, uh, I'd be totally okay if that track doesn't ever come back.
I bought it and I really enjoyed it, but the lobbies were stupid. Like I regretted it. I was like I should have just bought DLC for like American Truck Simulator or something like that because I was so bummed out to see all these demolition derby lobbies. For I was like these guys come out with a track and this is the first thing you guys want to do is just have literally like first one who obviously wins survives. They get $20. Like that's what we're gonna do. Oh, whatever. Like
You know what? I'll take that over the alternative of doing it in a C or B or A class race. So
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
take it in that case. But yeah, it kind of started to lose its interest, but I think people just wanted the real racing to come back, and I think we'll see that if they do attempt to do this again. They've learned what they needed to learn, and I think it will go off without a hitch. Honestly.
Yeah, and even just for people that are old school fans, it could have brought some people into like that world where they thought iRacing was not real and a lot of people were obviously people obviously will hate on anything if they get the chance. But you obviously just ignoring that stuff's good. That's a good rule first of all, but I think a lot of people were they're kind of turned on to iRacing that maybe they don't even play it. They were just like, "Hey, you know what? I give respect to this."
Yeah, exactly. And I think like my dad would have never cared to watch the iRacing like with any level of drivers
Hmm.
until they started putting it on TV and seeing how the drivers took it. That really helped. So it was cool to see them kind of adapt to it and show interest. And yeah, they did so much for the sport, I think.
I'm not sure about what you've done on your show or whatever, but for mine at least, anything I do on iRacing that's worthy of putting onto the page, I'll do. Have you found yourself in the last couple months going, "Hey, you know what? I got to put out some sort of content here, and might as well do iRacing."
We've not necessarily like I share on my Twitter a lot more than I'm racing type thing and
Right,
letting people kind of see that way. But we've posted when I've won like a couple times, but like
right,
overall our audience doesn't care.
yeah, that's
It's
another
fun to do
thing.
it, but
Yeah,
and for content and like we're doing other things to kind of keep active and doing whatever we want. So not really.
yeah.
It's like but I've actually had a very successful run where I've won like 14 or 15 events in the last month, and just if we posted every one of those, it'd be a little.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
Yeah.
This has been a really really good time for me in iRacing, more so than ever. And I
Nice.
think because I spend so much time practicing and like just if I had to guess how many hours my teammate Jordan Buster, who's the spotter for the 46, or I guess this year 33, Brett Taylor. If we put up how much time we put into just the Indy 500 qualifying for this week, like, oh, I would be embarrassed to say. I gotta say, it's probably like 30, 40
Oh
hours
wow.
qualifying for this week's race. So yeah, it's something that's kind of just like, oh yeah, we're doing it.
I
But
try to keep it as a weekend. I like to be like a weekend racer. Like basically Friday till Monday, I'll until they change the tracks. Basically, is when I'll do it. I've also am a little embarrassed to admit, even for me, I've about a 50 hours in the last month. So what you've put in this week is what I put in last month. But yeah, it's almost like wow, like my ass starts hurting after a few hours. It's like damn, man, I got to do something else.
yeah, it's like I've enjoyed it big time, and it's been great to get to kind of
Yeah,
with everybody and to meet a lot of cool people along the way. And I've been painting a lot of cars and making the designs.
yeah,
Like,
me too. I love painting. Yeah.
yeah, like I just finished my special one-off paint scheme for the Coke 600, where it's bright yellow. It's supposed to be easy to see. I have a tendency when I do my online races, I want people to see that I'm on track, and
Smart. Yeah.
so
Many
it's
reasons why, I'm sure.
yeah, it's like when I'm first, it makes it easier for the cameras to pick it up.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's been cool to do that, and it's just a lot of hours, a lot of work, but I've been doing other stuff on the side and can't
Yeah.
complain.
What's it been like for, obviously, I know you from the podcast that you do for CANrace, and you still do the hockey news, right?
No, so unfortunately that I was let go back in April. So uh, hope is that it will return when
Yeah.
we get back to green lights. But for now, no, it's that's not happening, unfortunately.
So, and you do take photos as well at the racetrack. What's it like? Obviously, I don't know if there's any sort of financial gain or even there's experience too that could be gained. That's how I see it this weekend. Like I'd love to be there just to learn the hard way. I love that every time I do a race. It's like I preferably not to make mistakes learning the hard way, but just by watching guys like you or like Adam or some of the drivers, how you do things. There's a lot of stuff that people are missing out on. What's it like for you?
Well, it's definitely lost income from not being on the track. Working with
Hmm.
a couple of teams doing photos, and specifically when I did the what was the event the final race of the year, Jacasa. Like I had a lot of good customer teams there, and it was really cool to be involved with that. And uh, missing out on that kind of sucks, but it's go. I was going through my photos. I got a bunch of my photos blown up and put on my wall in Toronto, and kind of like just a nice display of some of my favorite ones I've
Hmm.
taken. And it's just like I miss it. I miss
Yeah.
being at the track, and like I'm gonna really miss going to Moss Corner this year to do the
Yeah.
sports car stuff. Man, that is so much fun. How just getting to Moss Corner, taking photos of the sports cars up there, one of the coolest things you could possibly do. The cup car or the Phoenix cars are cool, trucks are cool, but nothing
Yeah.
to do in those. And missing the Toronto Indy this year, getting to do photos for that for the first time last year was fun. And it's as much of a absolute disaster of a location that's a hard track to take photos of, big time.
Yeah.
Or
Photo
very
hose hard to get to.
photo holes are hard to like. It's easy to get around the track compared to somewhere like most sport, except getting to turn one is a track. But
Right.
otherwise, like that's a fun track to do. And I started to do more short track stuff last year. And gonna miss the like. I hope we get to do that late model race. That was a lot of fun seeing the 50 or 60 cars that entered, and oh, that was an absolute blast. Minus the fact that it rained, but like I got to a bunch of like I had a few of the guys that I was with throughout the week. We had Caitlin Patrick and Alex Gallagher. They spent time at my house, and we watched racing like all night. We watched lawnmower racing, school bus racing. Like we had a blast. So it's getting missing out on the financial thing sucks, but
And hanging out.
yeah, on the connections of the people you go
Hmm.
to, and going to a race like Toronto Riviera or going to St. Eustache last year and going to those events or going out west a couple years ago. It's like getting to see people in that way. It's tough to do that. At least with iRacing, like I've been in contact with the Pennies drivers. I've been helping a few of them out on things, working with other crew members, and like we got an actual Pinty's championship spotter is like my crew chief in a lot of these big
Wow.
events. And was working on the Indy 500 last week when the Open or the fixed race, and we were doing like hardcore strategy with me and the spotter. We were just coming up with some of the most dynamic. Like we had a perfect strategy that just came short because we didn't get a caution the way we needed it. But it's like coming up with that was fun, but it's not the same as being in person. So it's been
Right.
kind of not being able to do that.
It's interesting hearing about the teams too, going to iRacing, like people who are part of the crew or whatever, and whether they're an engineer or like a spotter or crew chief. It's interesting to see, even just here for our series up in Canada. That's really good to see because I worry about some of the people. Obviously, there's a lot of smaller teams, and there's a lot of, they're going to get hurt financially. So it's good to see people still ready to do stuff.
Yeah, like that's the thing. iRacing's been really good in the fact that like these teams can kind of still practice in a way. They can come up with like learning the track a bit better and um,
Right.
staying involved and getting like in the NASCAR Roots series they had where the Pinty's guys were involved. Like a lot of those guys were still working with their Pinty's like spotters, crew chiefs, just to stay kind of just working together. And it's because like they would have already had the media day, they would have had a different like a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
different stuff going on already. So they've kind of missed out on that this year. And I think that the fact that they've been able to do that now has been very in the way they're doing has been good because they're staying active, they're staying involved, and there's some new team driver combinations that have gotten to kind of get to know each other too. So a lot of different small things there, and that's what's been good about iRacing. And but it's just a human connection. I think everyone's gonna really like when
Yeah.
because you go to the series is not a long schedule. It's a pretty short schedule,
Right.
and I know that the fans will appreciate coming back, but the teams are going to be just dying to get to do it all over again.
Yeah, and I think of how they obviously they travel out west for some of the series or for some of the schedule,
Not anymore.
and then and then you think about I don't know what they're doing out east either.
Well, see, there's no race in out in Quebec this year, or no race in Nova Scotia this year. Anyways, that wasn't on the schedule, so it was just going
Oh,
to be
okay.
Quebec, and most of those have already been canceled. So it's just kind of it's an abbreviated schedule, regardless.
I try to think of what tracks they'll go to, and I just mostly think of here in southern Ontario.
Yeah, so it's the tracks. It's the I asked about what the current schedule is, and there truthfully is not a current schedule. So
Right.
that's kind of just the problem. They're still hoping they can go to Jacassa for the second event, and to my knowledge, the announcement today, which was yeah, Chaudier's gone, Jacassa's first race is gone, and the whole Western schedule's been canceled. So it's just kind of finding out what's next. Uh,
Yeah.
it's we already knew that Trois Riviere wasn't going to happen, and we knew the first CTMP race wasn't going to happen. So that is leaving iCar as a hopeful return, and they're from my knowledge, iCar's trying to go full speed. They're trying to go on it, to have it happen no matter what. So it'd be cool. The one thing I was suggesting, it's like, well, maybe if they don't have a season, but they're able by the time Oshweekend comes around to do something, then
Oh, that'll be sweet.
it'd be pretty cool for them to do kind of like an exhibition race where they up the purse and they just say, go for it, see what
Right.
happens. I think a lot of the Oshweekend teams are concerned about the fact that it's like, well, are we going to be putting our cars in big time danger here? And
Right.
realistically, it's going to be a crapshoot. If you've ever been to Oshweekend, it's very rare when there's not a crapshoot race. But last year we had it was cool because this event where the Pinty Series is a part of it was Tony Stewart, Christopher Bell, and Rico Abreu who were all a part of it.
Right.
Uh,
Yep.
and there's, from what I've been told, we should be expecting some more big name drivers expected to do the Oshwegan race, but that could obviously change with everything going on.
Yeah, and it is a some of it's because it's like I'm bummed out, but at the same time, like at least from my perspective of things, I respect how things are being handled. I trust the health experts and the way I think we're the way Ontario at least is handling it. I'm not going to complain, but I at the same time I feel bad saying I want to see things open up quicker, but I do at the same time I'm a fan that respects. I want to make sure things are safe. I want to make sure NASCAR doesn't shit the bed, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just the thing. It's like, let's do it right. We
Yeah.
lose a season, we lose a season, but I'm just hoping the teams can still make it out alive out of this one.
From going on now, what's the stuff that you have in plan? So you said you have a kind of like a mini documentary coming out next week, kind of thing.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. It's got a lot of interesting little tidbits that are not really known about stock car racing in Canada, and I think it'll be kind of cool to see that thing finally come out. And otherwise,
Yeah.
and, I just kind of do freelance stuff wherever I get opportunities, and writing for my own website a lot, stephenpellis.com. It's very few racing articles, mostly hockey stuff and a lot of prospect stuff, but it's been kind of it's a nice range of whatever I think that's interesting. So yeah, I'm still keeping busy doing a lot of stuff, and of course, can't complain about the about doing our racing stuff. It's gonna be really busy this weekend alone. I'm broadcasting I think 5 races. So
Wow.
um, on my Twitch, twitch.tv/Stephen Ellis NHL, which also is the same username as my Twitter. So kind of just doing all that and just doing whatever I can to stay involved.
Yeah, and again, it's good that it's the people I know are trying to keep busy somehow because, I also think about all the people that we deal with as media, and I think about obviously, I hope they're gonna not get the shitty end of the stick with some of this stuff, and it's good to obviously be in touch with you, and you do CANrace, you do there's another website, there's Race Canada, I
Race
believe.
Canada, yeah.
Yep.
Do some freelance stuff for them, and they I put their sponsor all over my car. So
Sweet
my,
looking scheme you got running this weekend
yeah, that's
or next weekend.
yeah. Well, my Coke 600 car is gonna look really really damn cool, but my 500 car is super shiny this week now. I got Race Canada on there, and uh, yeah, it's been kind of fun doing all that, and I can't wait to see if I win any of these events because the 500 is one I put a lot of effort into. I led the 500 in both my runnings last week, and I led it late in a couple years ago. So I've led pretty much all the major events. It's just let's finish on top.
Do you have a legit rig?
No, I don't have enough space in my Toronto apartment for that. So
Yeah.
that's the basically what I have is um, I have a 2 screen setup, one with my data and timing and everything, and then my one for the race. I got G29, just standard stuff, and then I got a bunch of different like plugins and overlays and stuff to give me as much data as possible.
Right.
I'm tracking fuel runs, tracking tire temperature, tracking when other guys are pitting and stuff like that. So it's kind of like that. But this week I ended up actually going home to see my family for a few days, and my brother's got an advanced setup. My brother doesn't even care about racing, but he likes tracking games. So he's got
Yeah.
G9, he's got 3 monitors. I've been doing a little triple screen
Wow.
racing, and it's been kind of fun to do all that. He's got a really nice shifter. I don't even know what the shifter is, but it's pretty cool. So it's yeah, just kind of doing stuff like that, and um, yeah, so not a full rig, and who knows what if I'll ever do that. It's not exactly a high priority for me, but it's kind of a
Yeah.
nice. If I could do it, it's like sure.
Yeah, same. Like I got mine off of an old restaurant table, but it's perfect height and it's obviously got these feet on the bottom of the table, so it's nice and sturdy as well. So like a lot of people like just kind of making whatever that they from what they got the last couple of months.
Yeah, it's like I've been doing this for a while, so like
Yeah.
I've always I've always been kind of someone who likes to have a or like I love doing this. Like my very first sim race, I was 3 years old, I believe, in
Wow.
a NASCAR heat. I raced against my dad online back before that was really a thing, and I kind of just stayed involved, but I didn't really take it seriously until a few years ago, and um, love every second of it. Love
Oh
every
yeah.
second of it. So it's been fun doing that. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty Warzone. That's been like my new love. It's nice to, after a nice race
To just
where
do
it's been
something
hectic, to play
random.
Call of Duty. So and I have a team that's pretty good at it too. So we do
Nice.
well in that. It's nice when we go out and win a race online and then go win a Call of Duty Warzone, which
Right.
anyone has played Warzone, that's not
All we do is win.
like winning that. It's like that's a good night.
Yeah, that's true. You so this weekend you have a special for CANrace. There's a 4-part series.
Yeah.
What's that? What's that like? What's that going to be about?
Yeah, so we got one where Bryce and I talk about kind of just the history of the Victoria Day Speeds Fest and talking about how like our favorite memories of it. And there's been a lot of really good ones, obviously
Oh
with
yeah.
the with the great finish between Steckley, Ranger, and then the eventual winner, Gary Clute. And there was
Yeah.
that one 2017 where it poured rain near the end of the race and really screwed the strategy. And I gave a special shout out to Gary Clute in that one too, because Clute came from a lap down with six
Gary's
laps to
awesome.
go and came third place. Gary's a great guy.
Yeah.
Really wish he could go full time because he's a good voice for
Yeah.
this. Um, and kind of things like that. And there was a trivia competition between um, former CANrace member Caitlin Patrick and then Bryce and I. And I won't say who won, but it was a good event. It was a lot of
Not
fun.
Caitlin. No.
It doesn't
Turns
matter
out
who
she.
won.
Yeah, it's true.
We had a good time. We,
Yeah.
but I gave a hint there on who won. But anyways, that was really fun. And then yeah, they got
Oh,
my coming out on Monday, which is gonna be really cool. The little mini Toronto documentary, and so yeah, we got a bunch of different cool things going on, and can't wait to everyone else to see it because
yeah, it'll be good
it's
to see.
kind of a quiet time for racing news, obviously, but.
Hmm.
Be kind of cool to see that because we've been planning this one for a bit. We always try to do something special on that. We always do something special for Canada Day. I
Yeah.
think years ago we had all the drivers sing "O Canada." Some drivers were better than others
Like,
in
yeah.
singing.
I
But
bet.
yeah. So, we also, I believe on Sunday it is. We've got the drivers that actually sent a bunch of messages to fans. So we've got a little video of a bunch
Cool.
of top level drivers giving their messages to fans this weekend.
Yeah, because you guys would have been doing something anyway this weekend. Like a lot of the people that we're working with or kind of working with in the media center. Yeah, like it's good to like again, it's good to see that people are doing something, and especially in these hard times, like there's a lot of misinformation and whatnot out there. So it's also good to have reliable sources doing some stuff.
Exactly. So it's yeah, I can't wait for that stuff to come out. And
Yeah, I'm excited.
mini Toronto documentary thing. I just like it was that actually spawned out of the one of the questions in the trivia, and I had no idea what the answer was. I looked it up, and bam, got a little video coming out of it. So be interesting to see. I had not finished it yet. I still like the reason why I stopped doing video styles like this was when I realized, man, I've spent 3 days and I'm 7 minutes into it, and
Right.
there's 7 minutes to go. Jeez, just trying to source photos and videos and everything. It's a pain.
Yeah, absolutely. And given that you know, we're all trying to do what we can do, and especially with stuff like that. So, but what else do you got? Is so you got anything else to plug? Just I'm all for whatever else you got.
Yeah, just my Twitter, Stephen Ellis NHL. Tweet a variety of things. And,
That's where they can find the Toronto documentary, or is that going to be on CanRace? The
that'll be on
Toronto.
Case, and then a full transcript of it will be on my website, stephenpls.com.
Yeah, I love
So
Toronto history, so I'm excited to see. And I think a lot of people in Toronto, like, there's a lot of people who actually like are. I'm not obsessed with it, but I love the Toronto history stuff. Those pages on Facebook, and there's a guy I forget his name. I think it's the old Toronto series or whatever. He puts together a really good video.
yeah, like there's like I live in Toronto right now, so obviously I won't complain. But yeah, it's what else do I have? There's the hockey or like I got a lot of hockey stuff on my own personal
When's
website.
that? What's is there any news on what's going on there? I
Nothing.
know that Toronto right now is probably a questionable place. I know in the NBA, it was a rumor. It was reported that the commissioner wanted to use that as a potential location to end the season if they were to do like a shortened season. But
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I think I wrote for my website. I said it would be best. It would be in everyone's best interest. I think if we just cut the season, just cut
right,
this, and just focus on next year. It would suck to not get a Stanley Cup champion when there was only a month left in the regular season. But I think if you look at it, it's like if we're going to move free agency, move the draft, and if these other leagues that have already canceled, they're going to get on time. Well, we're still going to be in the old season. Everyone else is in the new season, and how is that going to work for transfers and everything? And does that
right,
mean like there's going to be top prospects? Like this is a loaded NHL draft this year. Are the guys that were ready for the NHL and have nothing left to prove in their development leagues? Are they going to be kind of just stuck waiting an extra year to go up? Like it's
yeah,
kind of like if I had, it's a lot of lost revenue. The NHL, we're
Yep.
talking millions and millions of dollars lost, and it's not in the NHL's best interest. But I think for fans, it's if we can kind of get the integrity back and make sure that we're starting back on day one when the like on schedule for next season and not hurt the next few seasons. I think that's got to be very important, and we don't want to have like a season ending in November, start
Right.
like January, February, and then screw over the summer type thing. And in some of these rinks in Arizona and Vegas and North Carolina, for example, Florida, though they're going to be spending a lot of money to keep those rinks like around during the summer
Right.
for play. So it's a lot of it's just kind of like it's not ideal. And so no, I feel like I might maybe the pariah for saying like, oh, I'd love to see them just cancel the season and start again. But
Absolutely.
I'd rather see everything else go on in the future as normal. And we just
Yeah.
at this point, it's gonna feel so forced if we're back, especially if it's got to be played in one city, so the fans can't even go see their own games type thing.
Right.
It's gonna suck, but
Well,
I'm
and
glad we're making that decision.
right
But
now, yeah, it's true. I wouldn't want to be making those decisions either. Right now, the ACC or the Scotiabank Arena, I guess. Right now, it's a kitchen, so I don't, I don't see anything or hockey or any basketball happening there anytime soon.
that's the thing. It's going to be so hard to get everything set up the way they want it to in such a short time that like let's focus on next season.
Yeah, and again, I would think it'd be funny if like Toronto or something like that wins the Stanley Cup, but there'd be a big asterisk beside that. And I think about that too on a NASCAR level. Like, what if Kyle Busch or something like that does win? Or what if like Willie B wins a championship this year? Would there be an asterisk beside it? So,
I would say as long as they do a 36 race schedule, no, not for
right,
now.
right.
Not for hockey, maybe. Hockey, if they like, I hope that they don't award a champion if they cut the season short.
Hmm.
Uh, if they're going to do that, just let's just not make it look sillier than it needs to, and just cut the losses there. But again, it's a lot of money lost, and no sport should want to lose money or be okay with
Right.
losing money.
Yeah.
But like, what else do you do?
We're in some weird times here, and there's a lot of stuff going on out there. There's a lot of misinformation, and then there's a lot of people that maybe they do need to talk to somebody or whatever, and that's what I'm trying to achieve with this new format I'm doing for my podcast here. And I would have been doing something anyways this weekend, so it's like I got to do something. I feel like it's a bummer that we're not there right now, but it is what it is, right?
I'd much rather be there than not there, but
Yeah.
I'd also think that even if they had a race, that the media would be not allowed as it is outside of a
That's
couple
what I'm
guys.
thinking, yeah. And I wonder, I did take a peek at some of the protocols for what they're doing in the Cup Series, and I guess if you're a media at any part of the track you want to go to, apparently you have to be retested. I believe that's what I read. So you might have
Yeah,
to take like, you better just be staying in one area, but then again, what are you going to be able to do in one area? It's very limited, so
that's the thing. It's like, well, what about photographers? Where would they be allowed to
yeah.
go?
So there's a lot of stuff that like hopefully we can see all the sports that are coming back this weekend. I know soccer in Germany is coming back, and hopefully I know UFC came back last weekend, and even though apparently they kind of botched some of the guidelines they were supposed to follow, but yeah,
Gee,
like
wow, shocked.
yeah. Specifically, apparently Joe Rogan he demanded in person and to handshake the fighter after an in person interview, which yeah, it's a little crazy, but yeah, hopefully we'll be able to take note from these, and in the next couple of months, who knows, maybe we'll be kicking it somewhere at some time.
I would love it. I'm not going to count on it, but I would love it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. It's something I think a lot of people should be able to be on the same page with at least. But yeah, again, what's your Twitch, your social?
Twitch.tv/Stephen Ellis NHL, and I stream iRacing on Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights whenever I do any big events, and this weekend it's a lot.
Yeah.
And then I'm also doing well, next week's gonna be a lot of fun. The biggest one of my favorite races of the year, the IORL 500, and it's close to 60 participants trying to make the 33 car
Wow.
field. And I've made it every year, so I'm hoping to make it this one too, especially since I've had a good week in qualifying. But I guess we'll see on that one. But yeah, that's my Twitch, Stephen Ellis NHL on Twitter, and StephenPLS.com.
All right. Thank you very much, Stephen. I appreciate it. And again, hopefully we'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Hey there. Thank you for watching our video. Make sure you head on over to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at the WWOMS.